So what I want to do is talk to you before you do your first practice run today. Let's run through the bike. I want to know about your suspension settings, tire pressures, any kind of geo adjustments you've made today versus what will happen on race day. And so after your race run, I'll come back and see if anything's changed.
Yeah, right now I have a 180 psi in the fork. I'm 2 clicks from close on high speed, 6 on low speed. We're 9 on rebound from closed. Shock, we got high speed 1 from closed, and then low speed is 2 from closed. Rebounds around 7, I believe, and we got a 400-pound spring. And then the tires, I'm probably going to start today with 23, 27. 23 in the front, 27 in the rear. We'll see how that goes. It's pretty dry, so I just have no idea if it's going to be soft, it's going to be hard packed, how fast we're going to be rolling. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see, and then we're expecting a little bit of rain this weekend. So then the settings just go out the window. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot too, to where I can pretty much ride any track like this, and then it's just fine tuning. Even just might switch the shock position from progressive to linear. Right now I'm in the progressive mode. That's from a weekend of testing, but every track changes, and once the tape's there, it's a lot different. So we'll see where it gets up to.
Cool. Tell me that again.
So the main reason we're on the grip covers is, if they're on the bike, it means the bike isn't ready. Usually all the settings aren't checked. If the grip covers are on, he's a bad boy if he takes it out of the work stand.
All right, Luca Shaw, we're in your backyard. You've ridden here a time or two, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been riding here for probably 10 plus years, so just 3 hours down the road, so for American standards, that is my backyard. We've been riding, actually, not on this track, but here the last few days with SRAM, doing some testing, so we're pretty stoked with how the bike is at the moment. Are we going to give them all the info?
Can you give me clicks and clacks and stuff like that?
Yeah, we're like base setup on the suspension, we'll just say that. I mean, it's all, honestly, it's all pretty simple stuff, like that's kind of what we've been working with SRAM, is to try and have all the like clicks and everything kind of in the middle, so we have room to go either way. And then same with the tire pressure, like base setting to start. Usually the way it goes is the more you learn the track and the faster you go, everything gets stiffer, so we'll see. Bike's feeling absolutely amazing at the moment. I'm super comfortable on it, and I don't think I'll change it too much, but we'll see.
Do you know what tire pressures are? Can you say?
Do we?
You don't want to say tire pressures?
We could. Low 20s in the front, high 20s in the rear.
Dang, all right.
There
Super secret.
There we go.
What's up, YouTube? We're here with Neko Mulally. We're going to talk about the Frameworks bike.
All right, Neko, this is Friday. Before you've done any practice runs, I want to talk to you about your current setup right now, and then we'll follow up Sunday after race day to see what's changed.
I guess just to get the simple things out of the way, I'm starting with the Continental Cryptotol tires. I'm running 25 in the front, 29 in the rear, 94 PSI with 5 volume spacers in my Fox 40. Got a little bit different damper setting, so the clickers don't really mean much. In the shock, I'm running the new Float X2, and I'm running 280 PSI in it. I don't think that stuff will change a whole lot through the weekend. I am trying a few other things on my bike. I've got a floating brake mount, so it puts the brake on its own 4-bar linkage that's isolated from the 4-bar linkage that the shock's on. It's got 4 mounts, and it also clamps to the round seat tube, so you can slide it up and down. And aside from those 4 settings we measured, you could just slide it up a little bit or down and get something in between. The goal of that is not to race with a floating brake mount, but to test back-to-back different anti-rise values and just get a feel for how those make the bike react under braking, and see if maybe there's a different anti-rise value that we want to incorporate into our bike in the future. We can move around the other pivots on the 4-bar linkage that drives the shock and mount the brake to it to get a different anti-rise value if we like one. But it's pretty cool to just isolate one variable at a time with that floating brake mount. I'm also running a bonded front triangle. This front triangle is just an experiment. I don't know if it's a great thing for production for us, but for a race team, which is our first priority, it's a cool way to be able to change the bike really fast. The goal being to make these ourselves order CNC parts, and basically however much you're willing to pay for them, you can get them as quick as you want to, and then bond together with the same tubes that we use for our welded bikes, a bike that has the same stiffness characteristic or whatever stiffness characteristic we design in a really accurate way with no tooling to make a prototype frame. So I'm testing that out. I've got a ton of laps on this one. I'm just making sure it's holds up in real life before I get any of my other riders on it, but it's a cool experiment for the future. I've also got a custom linkage on the bike. It's don't look too close. It's pretty hack job. It's a high progression link that doesn't really fit on this frame, so I had to cut the bridge out, and I was on the trail and wanted to change it pretty quick. I was out here during a ride day, so I just cut it with a Sawzall. It looks pretty sketchy, but it works. I just cut the bridge out, and it changes the leverage ratio to work better with the air shock. And without the bridge, maybe the frame flexes a little more. Shouldn't make too much of a difference though. So both links it's a two-piece link.
Do you have any challenges tuning for here?
It's tricky here because there's a lot of compressions, and it's kind of like a stuttery bike park where you're like rather than just like full pin, like big flow. So it's definitely hard to set up the bike here, but luckily I spent the past weekend testing and getting the bike ready because I mean it's still so early in the season and we're feeling good.
Finding traction and also having a good balance of like traction and like hold up for those G outs is the biggest hurdle here, I'd say. It's not the roughest track in the world, but it is like really, it's fast and it's pretty short, and it kind of goes by like that. So you got to be on pace for sure.
It'll be easy to get going fast on it, but I think the tough thing here is normally that the grip isn't really good. So you have that classic World Cup feeling of like, I'm going faster than I'm comfortable with, and I have less control than I'm comfortable with. And I think it'll be easy to get up to speed really fast on the track, but you just gotta try to figure out a way to like know where the support in the trail is so that you can carry that speed and be consistent with managing it.
I actually think I rode that section exactly the same every single time, where it just go, "Doosh."
It makes that noise?
Yeah, it was so awful, and I'm just like, please don't break a wheel every single run. But I kept seeing the hole, and I'm just like, don't hit the hole, and I would hit the hole and still do the gap. But it's like I want to hit the gap, so I'm fully committed. Yeah. And yeah, it was just, every time was just like the ugliest sound.
You have had your final practice run before race run. How are your settings different now than when we started, if at all?
Very, very small changes, to be honest. The first day we just slowed the fork and shock down because the temperature was like a lot hotter than it had been in previous days. So just to kind of get that same feeling that I wanted, and close the compression on the fork and shock one click as well, just to keep that, like, again, just to keep the feeling similar to how I had been riding. That was all the changes all weekend until today with the rain. We have the ability to make our rear end a little bit flexier, so we've tuned that a tiny bit just to get a little bit more grip out of the bike and left everything else the same tires, same tire pressure. So yeah, tiny little tweaks.
Cool. Have you changed anything since we last talked?
Yeah, the main thing that I changed was I just dropped my tire pressure. I went down 2 psi in both tires, and I didn't put new tires on for today. I'm still on the dries, the Cryptotols. Normally I'd put a new tire on for race day because the casing's brand new and it's stiffer. But I've got maybe 8 to 10 runs on these now, so they're worn in a bit, and then I just drop the pressure. And I think with the grease that we have today, that'll just help the tire be a little more compliant and get me a grip in those slick sections.
Cool. So no suspension tweaks at all.
I didn't tweak my suspension because there's still a lot of sections of the track that are running so fast, and I wanted to maintain the geo of the bike. I just wanted a little more grip out of the tires and the greasy parts.
Cool.
I did take off my floating brake arm. I probably would have done that anyway. It was just test. It's race day, pencils down. I put on, it's a little greasy today, so I put a rotor guard on the front. Try to keep the mud off. First weekend we 3D printed these things, so I want to make sure it works. There's no little issues with it before I let the other guys ride it. So it's a good day to test it today.
And you feel it's significant enough that mud flicking up would really deter your braking performance?
Probably not.
No,
but,
but it looks cool.
It's the theory's good, and you don't know until you test it on the trail. So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
All right, Dante, practice for the morning of race day's over.
Yeah.
It's a little greasy out there. It might rain out there. What have you done since we last talked with your bike?
Well, I mean, for seeding yesterday that it was dry, I didn't change too much, but I mean, we got a lot of rain last night, so this morning I'm around 22, 25 psi in the tires, so super low tire pressure just to get that a lot more grip. And then I'm going slower, so it's I'm not too worried about hitting rim and stuff. And then opened up low speed, 4 clicks on the fork, 1 click high speed, more open on the fork. Kept the rebound the same, which is not super common, but it's still rolling fast, so you still kind of need it to be quick. And then opened up low speed all the way on the shock. So everything's just a lot softer and more wallowy, but I mean you want that so that way you have all the traction in the slick roots.
All right, you have a couple hours before your run, right?
Yeah.
What if it starts raining a lot? Are you going to do anything different, or you just run it?
Like if it starts pouring before our race runs?
Yeah. Panic rev?
Yeah, just super stressed, and honestly probably keep everything the same because you might make minor adjustments, like maybe drop air fork pressure a little bit more, maybe tire pressure a little bit more if it's that bad. Maybe change tires, but I'm not really convinced because the track's so hard packed that it's you won't even dig in with the mud tires. Yeah. So it's that's what's super scary about this place right now, is that it's hard packed. But no, yeah, I'll just put those roll offs on and pray.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mean to ruin it.
Riding for Canyon Collective Factory Team. Windrock, get loud for Luca Shaw. Founder of Frameworks, team owner, bike park owner, race promoter. He would certainly be on the Mount Rushmore of U.S. downhill if there was one. And here comes Dante Silva for the Intense USA Race Program, your 2024 Monster Pro Downhill Series champion. Looking sharp across the line.
We're in North Kakalaki. You came off 5th place in Tennessee. How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling confident, feeling good. That was I feel like it was a bit of a sneaky podium, you know? Just did my thing for the weekend and then told myself I was going to podium and then I did and everyone was like, whoa. And it was yeah, went really well. Played the conditions right.
Sweet. So you feel like your setup worked? Sounds like it did, obviously.
Setup was so dialed last weekend.
Good.
Yeah, Windrock went pretty well. I mean, I had a smooth run. I didn't take my feet off in the mud. It was just one of those clean ones where the times were tight and I was closer than I've been in the past couple years since I'm on this end of things. But yeah, it just let me know that like I could see how those dudes went 5 seconds quicker than me. Like I knew the time was available, and when you have a clean run like that, sometimes you're like, oh man, should have. If I'd have known half a second would have got me 5 spots, I would have went faster. But no, it was cool to just be in the mix with those guys. I ended up, like we talked about, just went low with tire pressure. I think I was like 21 in the front tire, and just like the Argotol on the front only. And I felt like that gave me a ton of grip in those conditions. Somewhat of a gamble, but in that sense, like it's so greasy, I don't think you're gonna ever roll the casing. Like there's not enough grip to roll the casing before the tire slides. So going low and pressure in the tires helps a lot with just making the bike get more grip. And yeah, that worked out for that greasy race run.
Cool.
The whole week was really good. I felt great in practice and great in the dry. And then I actually felt good on the race day morning, but my race run was pretty terrible. Just didn't really know how hard to push, and then I like overthought it and had my feet out everywhere and like slid around everywhere and just, yeah, didn't have a good run. But that was a little bit of a bummer, but up until that point I had a good weekend, so seating was good and felt like I was riding good, so